What is going on today, guys? Good morning. Welcome back to the Bet Leveling Show. I'm Alan. I'll be your host for today's NBA slate. Tomorrow we'll have Garrett going through the ups and downs and the ins and outs of the NFL slate for tomorrow's Thursday Night Football. But today we're going to go back to back with this NBA slate for the NBA Cup. We have some really good teams to play tonight. I think it's going to be a lot more interesting than it was yesterday. No offense to the teams. And yesterday my picks were not the best, but today I really delved deep. I did a lot of research. I did, I got my favorite player props and people that are super consistent. And we'll see what happens today. I try to go through the same theory I did as the NFL, where you kind of go against the grain, go against the public. It did not go in my favor. We're going to get ramped up, guys. I mean, at the end of the day, gambling's gambling. You know, we can put our money where our mouth is, but at the end of the day, we really never know. The only thing is try to be consistent long term. This is a long game at the end of the day. You can have some wins, you have some losses. You know, people will say things are guaranteed. It's not at the end of the day. You have good days, bad days. The best thing we can try to do is have more good days than we have bad days, and that's what we're going to do today. We'll start it out today. So let's dive deep into the slate, see how it goes, and let me know what you guys think. Let's see. Let's start off with the first game. So we have the first game of the NBA slate, second round of the NBA Cup for the West here. We have the Phoenix Suns versus Oklahoma City. Okay, and again, sorry guys, I don't have the sharing and everything like that. We'll have that for next week's slate. I promise you guys that, but currently we'll just go through every slate. But again, we have the Phoenix Suns going against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Of course, the Thunder's the favorites. Thunder has not lost. They're going on a tear. They've won 15, 20 straight. I think they've only lost once this entire season. So they are going bananas, right? Defending champs. I mean, they're going to do what they got to do. Phoenix Suns have not looked the best. Jalen Green's been out. Dylan Brooks, out of all people, have been holding it down for this team. And Devin Booker, he's slowed down a bit. He was going off in the middle of the season, averaging almost 29, 30 points. But now he's going down. He's averaging about 25 points per game. So he's not really doing the crazy most. And so hopefully that changes tonight. We need, if they want to keep up with the Oklahoma City Thunder, I don't think they win. But if they want to keep up and at least show efforts, he's going to have to do some good good point scoring, some good assisting, and really just be a main factor of the ball. We also have, a lot of people out. Well, not a lot of people, but some good players out for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Isaiah Hartenstein's out. And so that's going to be really big when it comes to somebody like a Mark Williams down low, sitting at the center position. Hartenstein can make a huge difference for a lot of players. That means Chet's going to have, a big factor down low. And as you guys know, Chet, in my eyes, had played kind of like Cat. Where it's like he likes to play the three, he likes to play up. He's not like a really down low big center. So I don't know what they're going to do much there. So I think someone like Mark Williams might have a great day, rebounding day, points day, something like that. And I do like Chet's rebounds as well, just because, again, without having Hartenstein there, that's going to be a big factor for tonight's slate. But let's dive deep into the numbers here. I like to follow the money, even though it wasn't the best. It wasn't in my best favor yesterday. Now, I did get the Orlando Magic right, which was plus money, so that was great. But everything else was a complete wash. But that's okay. We bounce back. We keep it going. We try to, maneuver through strategies, and eventually we'll get it going. So, and that eventually starts today. So let's see what we got. So we got Oklahoma City Thunder. They are minus 1,000 for the slate tonight. A complete massive favorites, which it makes the most sense, right? Phoenix Suns sitting at plus 700. The spread right now is plus 14.5. Looks like it might be teetering down a little bit, maybe plus 13.5, maybe around plus 12.5 when games time starts. We'll see, but it is tinkering down a bit. And then the over right now looks like the over is sitting at about 226.5, 225. That's not a bad thing. Yesterday they really surprised me. I thought it was going to be a pretty high scoring slate for both games, to be completely honest with you, but it wasn't. It was pretty low scoring, great high defense. So the public was really on to something yesterday, and so that's something I'd take into account for today, where the total could be a big factor for that. So let's dive deep into where the money is and see where it goes from there. So right now we have Oklahoma City as the obnoxious favorites. 91% of the money is on Oklahoma City, but with the juice line like minus 1,000, in my opinion, it's just not really worth it unless you pair it with something crazy good or you put in a parlay. But for me, like I like to try to do straights for these or a two-legger with at least good coin back, like you get some good money back and good plus odds. But minus 1,000 is just not really worth it for me. But it makes sense. 91% of the money is on Oklahoma City. We got 52% of the money on Oklahoma City to cover the spread. So it's actually almost fairly close to 50-50. They do think the Phoenix Suns is going to be able to keep up so far with the Oklahoma City. And it makes sense, too, because the spread has actually went down, right? It was, 14.5, yesterday. Now it's going down to 13.5, and who knows what it'll be around game time. So that's something to keep aware of. I don't recommend, doing anything early on. See where the games go. See where the spread goes. I would recommend waiting maybe until 4:30, 5 o'clock, see where the lines may lie. But currently right now, they think, Oklahoma City's going to cover the spread, which I don't blame them. I can't see how they don't, right? And then we have the total. This game looks like it may go over. So the public is really on the over. 63.5 is on the over for tonight's game, which again is sitting at 226.5. So, it's pretty good slate. It's not anything too crazy. This game is not going to be my favorite of the night. I think the next game is definitely going to be a really good game to find some good player props to really watch and be able to make some good coin on. But this game right here, you could definitely find some good player props and really do his thing. I genuinely think, Shea might be the best look. I do like Chet for his rebounds. And I think a lot of role players, hopefully it's not a blowout. If it's a blowout, depending on what coaching does, they may let a lot of secondary players play. Hopefully they don't do that on both sides, so the starters can get some good minutes, get some good points, get some good rebounds and assists. But who knows at the end of the day, because with this high spread, if they think a lot of Oklahoma City's going to cover, they might get a lot of secondary players. So that's something to look out for. So that's the reason why this isn't my craziest favorite slate of the night. But I think you could find some pretty good slates. But just my prediction, of course, I do think Oklahoma City is going to win. I mean, it's just impossible not to. I know they're going to probably be fighting for that cup. They want some money, so they got great momentum. I just can't see them losing. At Phoenix, they could keep up. I mean, they did win their last game against Minnesota. They did win against LA as well. They only won 2 of their last 5, so they're not really great momentum swingers, but they did win a pretty good close game against Minnesota. So, I wouldn't be mad to see if they can cover. I'm not going to play with that. I'm not going to play with the cover. I'll probably go with the over with these guys too. When it comes down to the public, going with the over for this game. I do like the over. I think it's going to be a pretty high scoring game. I think it's going to come out the gate swinging. So my pick for today's game for this slate is going to be the over. So we'll see what happens. Now let's jump into the second game. See exactly what it's looking like money wise, and see what it's looking like for everything else. So for the second game, we have San Antonio Spurs versus the Los Angeles Lakers. This game is a little bit more excitement here. I do like the Lakers to win this game. I do think both favorites for tonight's slate does win. So, maybe a Oklahoma City minus 9.5, minus 8.5, and the LA, money line might be a good 2-leg. I might probably sprinkle on that for today. But let's just look at everything, right? So we have the Spurs sitting at plus 200. We have the Lakers sitting at minus 220. Right now the spread's sitting at plus 6.5 currently, and then the total sitting at 237.5. So this is going to be a high scoring game. Looks like it's going to be very high scoring. I don't see how it doesn't. You got Austin Reeves going bananas. You got Luka Doncic going crazy, man. Luka's averaging 35 points and almost a triple double at the same time. Man, if he's not in MVP talks, I don't know what we're talking about, right? He is absolutely going bonkers. So definitely, I can't see how he doesn't keep that up. Even with LeBron playing and LeBron being back, he's still keeping stuff up like that. He's getting 20 points in the first half. He's just a monster. He's just a monster. I really don't understand how the Mavs traded him, but I guess that's a whole nother topic. I know Garrett's a massive Mavs fan, Dallas fan, so I know he's not a big fan of that. But it's one of those things that's crazy that he really did get traded to a great team. Austin Reeves is unspeakingly about one of the best free agents, someone that never got drafted, players that we've ever seen to this day. So I can see a lot of reasons why Lakers are the favorites here. I'm definitely going to be playing them for sure. I don't know if the Spurs cover. But again, let's follow the money, right? Let's follow the money. So Lakers sitting at 78.5 as favorites. So a lot of the public is on the Lakers as well. That doesn't really scare me as much just because the odds are minus 220. So even though the public's on them, it's not a crazy payout, right? You would have to put over $200 just to get $100 profit, which isn't crazy, right? So I'm not too afraid of most of public being on the Lakers. Where I really want to look at is the spread and also look at the over to see if there's any fade worthiness here. So let's look at the spread. We got 63% of the money on the Lakers covering the 5.5 spread, and then we have the over as the favorites. So both games look like the over is going to be the favorites here. I don't hate that. The only thing at this game, though, I do think it might be a little bit more competitive. I don't know if it's going to be as high scoring. I mean, I do think it could score high, don't get me wrong, but I think one team might get like 210, 215. The other team get about, or not 210, sorry, about 110, 115, and then the other team maybe like 105 to 110, which still stays under that. To get to about 237.5, they're going to have to both teams going to get about 120 or more, both teams. It's not impossible, but it is pretty high. I'm going to stay away from that over. If I were to pick anything, I would pick the under. So I would pick the over for the first game, under for this game. But my favorite prop and my favorite pick for this game is going to be the Lakers money line. I'm going to stay away from the spread because something tells me Spurs could keep it close at plus 6.5. If I wanted to do an alt spread, my favorite play would probably be, let's say Oklahoma City, minus 8.5, and then Spurs plus 8.5. That might be a good little sprinkle as well. I might do that later. But those are the big looks that I'm seeing here, just off first look. And again, things can change gradually as the day go. But that's just what the slate's looking like. That's where the money's going. I like to follow the money. So, just looking at it first glimpse, without any injury report, without any updates, without any coaching abilities, things like that. That's just what I'm looking at. So we'll see how it goes from the slate. But let's dive deep into my favorite player props and see what we can do for the day and hopefully get you guys a great cash out. Today I only did a 3-man play. I'm not a big fan of doing the 4 legs. I used to be a massive fan of doing 4 legs for that 10x. But as the slates go, the NBA's been weird, NFL's been weird. So I've been going down in my picks. So I've been doing a lot of 2 legs and 3 legs as of late, and it's been working phenomenally for me. I try to do a 4 leg just to kind of start things off, but I think I'm going to stick to what I like to do the most as of late. So let's see if I can get you guys cashed out today. I really did a lot of research for these plays, and I think it has great potential. So let's dive deep into them. Let's see what I got. All right, so what I got today, I have the 3 leg for tonight's game. Again, you can use Prize Picks. I'm using Prize Picks here to get my plays. I do a lot of Prize Picks plays. I do like to go on like FanDuel and other sports books like that to try to do an alternate spread or alternate player prop, things like that. But sometimes early in the morning or like the day before, Prize Picks has pretty good, solid lines, kind of teeter exactly where the lines could be. I know some people like to wait, a couple hours before the game starts. I don't blame them at all, because anything can happen. But I also like to see that, if you can get some good lines early, things fluctuate throughout the day. And if you lock it in before the fluctuation, you can have a great, ahead of the game kind of feel. And then you can have some great props locked in before it goes skyrockets. So, there's a lot of greatness and a lot of perks of doing things beforehand. This is my 3-man leg before the game start. Again, this is about 12 hours before the game starts. So this is what I'm looking at here. And let's dive deep into it. So I know Mark Williams is probably my favorite sleeper play. Right now, I will say, a lot of the apps are favoring the under, but they're favoring the under at 8.5. Okay, Now, I will say the last 2 times that the Phoenix Suns has played the Oklahoma City, Mark Williams has actually gone over this line both times. He actually got 11 the first time and then 13 or 14 the second time, right? So both times he's played against the Oklahoma City Thunder, he's gone over this 7.5 rebounding line. Now, again, a lot of apps are favoring it. Why are they favoring the under on this game? Is because he hasn't gone over 10 in his last 10 games. He's only gone over 10 or even 8 for that matter in this past 3 out of 10 games. So I understand completely why a lot of apps are favoring the under for Mark's rebounds. But again, I'm looking at the head-to-head. I'm looking at the type of game this is going to be, this NBA Cup. A lot of starters should stay in. If the Phoenix Suns can keep this game close, I don't see how he doesn't get it. There's no Hartenstein either. So I really like this Mark Williams look. It might be, I might get shot in the foot for this, but I'm going to stand my ground for this. I really do like that Mark Williams look. Over 7.5 rebounds. I can't see how he doesn't hit it. Next play, I got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander getting 31 points or more. I tried to get the line at 30.5. It was 30.5 for a bit, but then when I tried to lock this in, it went up to 31. So I was like, I guess it's basically the same thing. If he ends on 31 on the dot, at least it pushes, and I'll get a 3x. I'm okay with that. But I still do like the points. This man has been on a complete tear. Him and Luka are going head to head. I'm guessing probably for the MVP look. Right now he's hit this line in the past 7 out of his last 10 games. Last 5 games he's hit it at an 80% clip. So this man is really doing a lot of numbers, and him hitting 30 is just another day at the park, man. So I can't see, especially with this being an NBA Cup, potentially high scoring, potentially, Phoenix Suns could keep it close. I don't know, but they could. If they keep it close, there's a great potential for him to hit this over. So even though 30 points or more usually scare a lot of people, for someone like a Shai, I don't see how this is going to scare people. So I'm going to stick with it. I love these 2 looks. These are my 2 favorites. And then let's jump down to Luka. So Luka averaging, again, almost a triple-double. Okay, he's getting, he's averaging 9.1 or 9.2 assists, and then also 9.1, 9.2 rebounds, and then averaging 35 points. This game here, we have LeBron, we have Reeves, and Reeves loves to play in the spotlight. I really did like Reeves, but again, I don't know if you guys heard me in the last video, but I like to pick one player from each team. Don't know why, but I always like to try to pick the best player or my favorite look, one person from each team, and so I wanted to go with Luka as opposed to Reeves here, but again, LeBron's back. Ayton's playing really well. Reeves is doing really well. I think Luka is more on the RA side today. Not saying he won't get points. I still think he can drop 30 with ease. But I do see him getting at least a good 9 rebounds, a good 8 to 9 assists this game. I do think he hits maybe 9 and 9 both for that. And, just looking at the numbers, Luka has gotten this 6 out of his last 10, but he's also gotten an 80% clip out his last 5 games. Last game, he's had 15 rebounds, 11 rebounds, 12 rebounds. He's had 5 rebounds against Dallas, and then 9 rebounds against the Clippers, and then 11 rebounds against Utah Jazz. So the last 6 games, this man has been absolutely bonkers for this line. I don't see how he doesn't hit this again. Especially with the type of game this is going to be. I love this look. I'm going to stand my ground on it. 8.5 rebounds should be ease for somebody like Luka. I can't, I might even sprinkle a little bit of a triple-double. But yeah, so these are my plays here. It would be a nice little 6x on Prize Picks. You might be able to find some better odds other places, but I'm going to stick to the Prize Picks play. These are my 3 favorite plays from tonight's slate. I hope everything goes great for everybody. If you guys have any other plays to add to this, it's a 3-legger. If anyone has a good extra play that they have really good insight on to have me add to this, let me know it down in the comments below. Love to hear you guys' insight. Love to see what you guys are on, see how you guys are seeing the field, seeing the court, and love to see what we have going on as a community here. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. This is a Bet Leveling Show. I appreciate everything. And, I'll see you guys on the next one. Be sure to tune into the NFL slate for tomorrow, Thursday Night Football with Garrett. And, let's keep winning and let's keep going. Keep leveling up. I'll see you guys next time. Later.